you might have noticed a common theme is on multi-stakeholder collaboration and how we can actually co-create, how we can build consensus. A lot of talented people in the audience. One of the talented people is Greg Epstein, who is writing an article.
Greg is a New York Times bestselling author who also serves as the Humanist Chaplain at Harvard University and at MIT. He's the convener for Ethical Life at MIT's Office for Religious, Spiritual, and Ethical Life, and has served a term this past year as the president of Harvard Chaplains, Harvard University's core of over 50 chaplains from more than 20 different religious, spiritual, and ethical traditions. He's been described as the godfather of the humanist movement by the New York Times Magazine and as a symbol of the transition in how Americans relate to organized religion by The Conversation. He was named as one of the top faith and moral leaders in the United States by Faithful Internet, which is an interesting name, a project coordinated by the United Church of Christ with assistance from the Stanford Law School Center for Internet and Society. His work has been featured by the New York Times, The Atlantic, TED Radio, CNN, NPR's Fresh Air, and many more. In addition to writing for publications such as the Boston Globe, CNN.com, and the Washington Post, in 2019 and 2020, Greg spent 18 months as the first ethicist in residence at TechCrunch, where he published nearly 40 in-depth articles exploring the ethics of technologies and companies shifting our definition of what it means to be human, often in troubling ways. Based partially on this research, he's currently writing Tech Agnostic: How Technology Becomes the World's Most Powerful Religion and Why It Desperately Needs a Reformation, for MIT Press. So one of the chapters of Tech Agnostic is going to focus on All Tech is Human, the only organization which Greg plans to devote an entire chapter of the book to. He's also currently working on an article about the organization for which he's going to be covering this event. So that brings us to why he's here. He's interviewed a number of the leaders in the movement and in this organization and speakers from other events, and he's hoping to continue that work by interviewing some of today's participants. So do you want to come out and say a few words, Greg?
Let me take you in for a second. All right. By the way, I was gonna do a whole thing about sort of look around at each other, but who already did that today? Right? David. And what's a secret about that? It's a classic preacher, pastor, chaplain, clergy trick. And David already used it, so I can't use it anymore. There's a reason why I've been writing about technology and religion, and there's a reason why I've been writing about that within the context of this organization as well. When I look out and see all of you, I see the congregation that I spent a decade working with and being in a leadership role in and caring about. I haven't seen this many like-minded faces since the before times. It's not just seeing people, it's like we're all here to care about something together. So, all right, what do I want to tell you? Just real brief. I got the feeling after that decade of community building that I wanted to give it up and try something a little different. And around that time, I got invited to join MIT. I had already been a chaplain at Harvard for about 15 years. I started thinking about the T in MIT. Now, I was trained to see religion as, in short, the most powerful social technology ever created. But I started thinking around that time, it was 2018, maybe that's not true anymore after thousands of years. Maybe now this thing we call tech is the most powerful social technology ever created. And if so, well, when you think about religion, what I think is that people get a tremendous sense of community from religion, for good and for bad. I'm an atheist, so I'm kind of an odd duck in religious circles, but I appreciate being there very much. This is an organization that I see providing a sense of community within this sector that you might call responsible tech. What even is that? The movement, right? So what I want to do during lunch, later in the day, etc., is just talk to some of you here and just get a sense from you. I'm not here to preach. I actually want to hear you preach about a few things. Just 4 questions that I want to ask you, if you could find a spot for me. And Kate, is there any idea about like where I might go to talk to people that's sort of nearby, but like just a teeny bit quiet? The coat room? I love it. I love it. When I was a kid, my parents got some sort of free stay at the Fontainebleau Hotel, and I begged them to sleep in the closet. And they let me. So I love the coat room. All right. 4 questions I want to ask you. 1, just tell me about you, your name, your affiliations with regard to tech. Most importantly, something about your journey. How did you get to the place where you are in technology or around technology today? 2, you don't have to remember these. I'm going to remind you later. I just want to give you a sense of it. What motivated you to attend today's summit? What are your experiences, your impressions of All Tech is Human as an organization and as a community thus far? I'm not asking for anything definitive. 3, what does responsible tech mean to you? Because I'm trying to figure that out. What kind of technological future do you see yourself as working towards, or maybe what future are you working against? What's irresponsible tech in your definition, if that's a better fit as a question for you? And finally, 4, how much of a sense of a community do you currently have in your work in tech? So it's not like I want to know, how much time do you get to spend with your peers? It's more like I want to know, how much of a sense of connection do you feel you have with the people that you personally define as the best people among your peers? Not the most successful, but the people you think of as the best people who are your peers. Do you feel connected with them enough? What would it look like to feel more connected with them? That's all. Nothing major. Thank you so much for having me, David. It's a real pleasure to be here, and I hope to meet many of you today. Thank you.